Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Zelda Cast here on ZeldaDungeon.net. My name is Andy Spiteri, joined by my pal and yours, Allison Aletha. What a week, Al! What a last couple of days. It felt like a lot of time has been crunched into these last couple of days since the last time that we streamed, which was only 4 short days ago by my count. What's going on?
I don't know. I'm overwhelmed. I don't know. I can't even say if I'm good or bad or peachy or nothing. I just feel very overwhelmed. So much is happening. We're going to talk about all of it. And
Indeed.
that's all I got.
The original plan for today was to do a frame-by-frame breakdown of the Age of Imprisonment trailer. And I think we're going to push that till next week. Because, I mean, there's just so much stuff that came in the aftermath of the Switch 2 announcement. And it felt like it just kept on coming and coming and coming, and some of it was good, some of it was bad, but we certainly learned a lot throughout the course of even Wednesday. You know, if you listen to our episode kind of breaking down our thoughts and reactions, even then, like, we were trying to filter real-time information as we were getting it, and some of it was incorrect, some of it was correct. I think the dust is mostly settled now on everything, so we know that we have like firm prices, we have firm facts that we have about the Switch 2 that we can talk about, and we have just a little bit more clarity, for better and for worse, on how some things are going to be going here on the Switch 2. Now, this is what I want to lead off with before we even get into anything today. If you want to get hands-on Switch 2 impressions, tune in to the Omega Metroid podcast on Wednesday. We will have hands-on Switch 2, Metroid Prime 4 impressions, plus we've played Mario Kart World, plus we've played Donkey Kong Bonanza, plus we played the GameCube online. Dak went hands-on with everything at Nintendo New York, and we're going to have the full report. That's going to drop this Wednesday. So if you are interested in how the Switch 2 controls, how the Switch 2 feels, how the games look, check out Omega Metroid this coming Wednesday. You do not want to miss that show. So there's my plug for Omega. But I mean, I'm really excited to hear some of that stuff myself.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, don't miss it.
Yeah, that'd be good to hear. I didn't know that he did that, so that's super cool.
Yeah, they had like a big thing at and this was announced after the original
Right.
like reveal that they were going to do a couple of different spots across America where you could just go in and you can basically you can like play a demo version.
Yep, that's true. I remember Jules wondering if we were going to go to the LA one,
Yeah.
but you had to be put on like a wait list, and
You had to
I
get
just
approved.
yeah, and I was just like, I'm not going to get approved, so I didn't even try. But I
Yeah.
probably should have tried.
I wasn't gonna fly into America just to play a couple minutes of Switch 2, because we're certainly not waiting very long until we can play our own Switch 2. 2 months away,
Right.
almost to the day actually, before the Switch 2 will be available for, well, we'll get there actually before it will very likely be available for purchase. So yeah, we're going to get into all the Zelda news, of course. We're going to talk about the games that were announced. But we can't ignore the elephant in the room, which is all of the kerfuffle and the brouhaha from the Switch 2 price reveal, from the Switch 2 game price reveal, and of course this pre-order situation, which is just a gnarly situation. And I'm going to warn everybody right here. It's very, very challenging to talk about these subjects without, bringing up politics into this. And I know that people don't like that, but I mean, that's what brought us here, is that the keep politics out of gaming crowd kind of led us to this destination, or at least had a hand in that. So this is your warning. I'd probably say the first half of the show might be a little bit sensitive if you're just looking for true escapism. Fast forward to like the halfway point, and we'll talk about Age of Imprisonment. We'll talk about Wind Waker. We'll talk about all that kind of stuff. But I do think that we have to acknowledge the issues with like the price and everything like that, because I don't know about you, Al, but like I Man, I had so many people like sending me private messages, so many people commenting on our Discord in Omega Metroid. It's fewer in the Zelda Dungeon Discord, but a lot of people rightfully, or maybe I don't know, a lot of people clearly upset about the pricing, the precedent, everything like that. So yeah, I think that we have to get into that. I don't think that we can do this story or this week justice by brushing that aside and ignoring everything.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, fair enough.
let's get into it. And you know, I think when the Switch 2 price dropped, tell me if your experience was different. I think that a lot of people were just like, "Oh, the Switch 2, that's the four, what was it, 450?"
Mm-hmm. 450.
450. That's maybe a little bit higher than we were thinking it was going to be. It was $50 higher than I thought that I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, same.
But I will say I didn't see people really take umbrage with that price. I think everybody kind of understands, like, listen, it's been multiple years since the last Switch came out. Clearly things cost more, and like as a console, we saw a lot of the upgraded features. I think that people, for the most part, were fine with the way that the price of the Switch 2 itself was handled. And I think that is true of the bundle as well. I didn't see a lot of hurt feelings about the actual price of the Switch 2, at least not the initial price of the Switch 2.
Mm-hmm. I want to say, like, when we were doing this like live reaction to the direct, and then like an immediate follow-up to how we felt about the direct, which of course we were both like living in that high of such an awesome direct. We both rated it pretty high, A plus. So you kind of like, for a second, you're kind of like, oh, they didn't list the price in the direct. And then once you like came down from the high, you're like, oh, they didn't list the price in the direct. And they did that on purpose. And I thought it was going to be $400 when they said, I said 400 to 450. So I wasn't too surprised when it said 450, but I was a little like, but then I think about my Switch that lasted 7 years, and I'm like, okay, I can understand like getting my money's worth out of it. So that's probably fine. So I didn't take too much issue with the price of the Switch. It's the Switch 2 itself.
I would agree with that. And I think that most people were on the same page. Like, the price of the Switch 2, was it more expensive than we were hoping? Sure. Does Nintendo kind of have, I guess, like a reputation as, a more family affordable option? Sure, that is true, but I don't think that, just because of that, they're beholden to that. And to be honest with you, the Switch 2 is still like vastly more inexpensive than, a PlayStation 5 or a Xbox, whatever they're called, right? Like, so I mean, like, that's definitely something that I don't think that a lot of people took issue with. When the hammer dropped, the hammer dropped on when the price for Mario Kart World was revealed, and the price for Mario Kart World is $80 American, which everyone was just freaking out about. And I will say, as a Canadian, we have been paying $80 for our games for like the last 15 years. So it's just kind of like, oh yeah, welcome to the club a little bit. But also that's bad news for us, because it's probably going to be $100, maybe even more dollars for the price of this video game when it comes out. Like, I remember Tears of the Kingdom was $95 for me when I bought it. Like, just the base game, right? Because it was $10 more. So certainly a lot of people are very unhappy with that. And it's kind of weird, because there's different tiers that this game is available for. And I guess this is what I am going to say to everybody here. And this is just my opinion, but like, listen, I'm not going to tell you like you shouldn't be upset about the price of this game. If someone were to tell me like this is BS and I'm not going to buy it and I'm going to boycott this and I'm boycotting the Switch 2, I'd be like, okay, that sounds awesome to me. Like, go for it, man. Like, and I think that you should follow what you think is right. This is what I would say. When I ask people, because we were talking about this in the Discord, and it was just like, well, you know what? Listen, like, I'm not happy about it, but I kind of understand it, right? Like, you go down the list of of what the price is of things now versus what they were 15 years ago. And the price of big AAA video games has been fairly consistent for the last 15 years. Only in the last 5 years, and I think with the new generation, where you're seeing games priced at $79 American rather than, or no, excuse me, $69 American rather than 59 American. And so I'm kind of looking, I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, like, look at how much going to a movie costs now. Like, if you're going to a you're buying 2 tickets to a movie and a popcorn combo, like, you're probably looking at like $50, right? Or probably more, actually, depending on that. But I don't know. If you're looking to buy a book, you're probably looking at it. It's costing more to buy a hardcover book, and like go down the list. So like, I totally understand that like things have went up, and like I don't like it, but I can at least see it, right? Now, a lot of people were just like, well, this is completely bogus because it sets a precedent for other games, which, fair enough, it certainly does. And a lot of other people were just saying, like, well, you know what, the other thing that's bogus is, like, everything just goes up, and, like, the amount of money that we have doesn't, right? And that's where I think the rubber meets the road, because, like, listen, like, everybody listen very carefully to this. If you are upset about the Switch 2 price of Mario Kart World, I totally think that is valid, and you should be upset. But I also think that maybe you should be upset and asking some other questions as well. Like, why hasn't my income went up in 15 years? Does my government work for me, or does it work for the people that own these big companies that lots of people work for, that are trying to actively make sure that you don't get more money? You know what I mean? Like is there a problem with the way that, everything is structured, where I can't afford an $80 video game, but some of the richest people on the planet can pump millions and billions, maybe not billions, but millions into, like, elections and that kind of stuff, right? So I think that like those are the questions that you should be asking. And I'm not saying that you let Nintendo off the hook. They could and should have given us a better explanation as to why this game, Mario Kart World, costs so much. Like, and I think it would have been easy for them to just say, like, listen, it's an amazing game. It's an open world Mario Kart. A lot of years were spent. Like, I think if they'd have said something, it would have been an easier pill to swallow. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's much, and this is not just a Nintendo thing. Like, you're going to see this with everything, right? Like, I think that you should be asking why the amount of income that you have has not went up, where you can not afford anything, right? Like a lot of people have, right? And I don't want people to take that a certain way, but what I mean is that like obviously video games are a hobby, and they're a lower priority one. Like, if you have, dependents and stuff like that, like, you're going to put those first, as anybody should. But it sucks like that you can't take some of that, hopefully you have disposable income and use it on video games like this. And so if you're seeing this and you're just like, they're pricing me out of getting this, I think you should be asking why. Like, asking a lot of questions, right? Like, who does my local representative support? What are their values? Are they pro me, or are they pro the rich guys? Right? Like, those are the questions I think that people should be asking.
I definitely think that this is like an important thing to go into with a questioning attitude. I was trying to do some math while you were chatting, just to like try to understand also, like, I think you're right about, about income, but also considering what our dollar is worth now compared to 15 years ago. So doing some math, $60 in 2010, which was, the standard price for a game, is now $87. That's what inflation has done to our dollar. So that is why these prices are probably so high. And then also, you mentioned like Canadian, you guys have always done $80 for these games. Well, your guys' dollar is 70 cents to us. So it kind of makes sense why it's a little bit higher. So we do have to kind of like look at the math, look at the facts and all that kind of stuff, and wonder why these prices are. I'm not saying that I'm not saying don't be upset by these prices, but just
Mhm.
kind of understand why they are the way they are. And again, I agree. Like sometimes when you have a hobby and something that's maybe not as high as a priority if you have a family, these things do feel very like not fun to think about. To think
Yeah.
about, I want to buy a game for my family and it's going to cost $80 to $90.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
totally.
it's I get it. I get why people are upset. I don't have a family that I have to take care of with my income, so I feel like I'm going to be fine, but I'm not really happy about it. I'm not really happy about games prices going up $20 in the last like 5 years.
Mhm.
You know, so there's a lot of questions to be asking, and you just kind of have to decide what's best for you after asking and answering all those questions.
Mhm. Totally. And yeah, I mean, like, listen, we all know this. Like, video games cost more than ever to make, right? Like AAA video games cost just a ton of money to make. Now, the flip side of that is like Nintendo is clearly not hurting right now, right? Like they're doing
Mhm.
pretty well. They just had their most successful console generation, probably of all time. Um, but I do think like you also keep in mind like how quickly things can change, right? Because you saw what
Yes.
happened Wii to Wii U. So
Yes.
I mean, listen, like if you're unhappy with that price, I think that's fair. If you're
I
unhappy that
understand it.
Nintendo didn't like outwardly say the price in the direct of the Switch 2, sure, I
That
think
was a little
that's
that was a little skeevy.
yeah, you know what, I don't know, I think that's fair. That didn't bother me as much. Um, but yeah, like I mean, speak with your wallet, right? Like you might remember when the 3DS launched, that thing was like almost $400.
And it went down about
It,
6 months later,
and it
right?
went. I think it was 6 or 9 months. Yeah, but like I mean, like it tanked. It tanked because people saw it and were just like, "This is too expensive. I'm not buying it." I mean, listen, I doubt that that's going to happen with the Switch 2. Like Nintendo, I think at this point they're almost like too big to fail now. Like I wouldn't have said that maybe 10, 15 years ago, but now I think that they've kind of modernized to an extent where like I think they're a little bit too big to fail. But I mean, speak with your wallet, right? Like that's really the only thing that you can do. And like for someone like me, I'm gonna buy it, and I think that that is worth it to me. Like let's just say that it's $100 Canadian. That's steep. That's steep. But I guess I kind of for me, I will work out. Well, like listen, what am I? If I go out for a date with my wife and we go to dinner and we go to a movie, I'm spending $100 at least right there, right? Like so,
Hmm.
and that's for a night, and I guess my rationale is like, well, I'm gonna own this forever, so like that's fine, like that works for me, but that's my kind of viewpoint on it, and I think if
Hmm.
like again, like I think you follow your conscience, follow your heart, right? But the most important thing is like, listen, um, if it wasn't Nintendo, it was gonna be someone else for sure
Hmm.
that's doing this. It probably would have been like Grand Theft Auto 6, right? Because like
Hmm.
that's going to be a big game. It's going to sell 50 million copies, just like Mario Kart World is going to sell 50 million copies. So like it was going to be one of these big games. And I think the root of the issue is, why do I not have extra income? Where is it going? Who do I pay more taxes than some of the wealthiest people on the planet in my country? Right? Like, are we spending a ton of money, wasting a ton of money in the name of efficiency? Right? Like that those are questions that you should be asking. So that's what I'll say about the price of Mario Kart World.
Yeah, I like what you said about, because this is how I felt about my Switch, which comparably was not that expensive. I think it was $300 outright. I used my Switch until it died, and it died 7 years after the fact. I used it almost until the announcement of the Switch 2. And I got my money's worth out of it. I also have a PS5, and I probably play that about 20% of the time compared to what I play on my Switch.
Hmm.
And so I haven't quite felt like maybe I got my money's worth out of it, except for like the experiences and the games were very worth getting a PS5 for me. So I could
Right.
I could argue that there. I think it just depends on how you look at this device and these games, and you see like it's worth to you in your life in the future. So for
Hmm.
me, the Switch was very worth the price. I have a feeling because I enjoyed the Switch so much and I enjoyed Nintendo so much, the Switch 2 price will be worth it in the end. Or Mario Kart World. People plug thousands of hours into that game. I think the price will be worth it in the end. And I have a feeling that a lot of Nintendo games in the future are going to be like the Donkey Kong game. I don't know if that's going to be $80 outright, but if it's $70, I feel like I might get my worth out of that game. It just depends. And of course, the situation, as we've seen from Wednesday to today, changes every single day. There's new information coming out every single day. We literally have no idea what's going to come out tomorrow. Maybe Nintendo will eat some prices or something like that. We don't know. So instead of panicking, I'm just going to kind of wait it out and see and determine if I feel like it's going to be worth it in the end for me.
Here's the other thing, too. The prices are all over the place for Nintendo Switch 2 games. If you are mad about the price of Mario Kart World, you have some other options as well. Like, so the game costs $80 for the physical copy. The physical copy. The digital copy is $10 cheaper. So that costs $70. Okay, there's a $90 price floating around. I believe that was from Europe, you said, right?
Yeah, some people were panicking about $90 physical copies, but somebody saw like a price from Europe and assumed it was, again, the dollar is different in Europe than it is here. So just, again, we don't want to see something and panic.
And maybe, I don't know, I better absolutely fact check myself. Everything that I've seen is that the physical edition is $80 and that the digital edition was $10 cheaper. That maybe that is incorrect. I'm not sure, but I'm about 90% sure based on everything that I saw. However, you also have an option to buy it, in the bundle for cheaper. So, I mean, take advantage of that. Or you have the option to not buy it at all. So, I mean, do that as well.
Part of me is like just a teeny bit annoyed that the bundle makes the game $50 because I want the physical game, but it just seems so much better, especially with all the stuff going on with the economy and all that kind of stuff and the pricing, just to get the bundle, in my opinion, just from my life personally.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of annoyed because I want to have the physical edition.
Yeah, you know what? Everything that I've seen is suggesting that the game is going to be $80 for the physical, $10 cheaper. That could change, but I mean, there's that. Clearly, they want you to buy the bundle, right, with the Switch 2, and frankly, it's a good deal.
It's a good deal.
It. So I mean,
$30 off of the game, it's a good deal.
Yeah, do that if you want. Now, I will say this: not every game is priced that way. Like Donkey Kong Bonanza is $70. I think a couple of the other, I think Elden Ring was more expensive. I think that was $80. So, some of the other games are $80 as well, but the prices are all over the place is the point. And there could be a scenario too, as we get into it, where digital games cost less than physical games. And I mean, I don't like it, but I can see where that makes sense, right?
I can also see why people are upset about the price because Nintendo almost never does stuff on sale. Unlike PlayStation, where 6 months from the game's release, you might get it, 25% off or something. Nintendo doesn't seem to do that. Maybe during Christmas time, they'll have a bundle. But so I can see why people are upset in that fact, too, because they can't just wait 6 months and have the price go down. It's going to pretty much stay the same the whole time.
Right. And you know what? Maybe that'll change. Maybe it might have to change. That could be maybe the one silver lining here, right?
Yeah, maybe Nintendo will see the benefit of changing that policy that they've had forever.
Yeah. So the other thing I guess I would say two critiques of Nintendo specifically, because again, I guess I don't know if I necessarily. To me, I think the issue more lies with your government and the way that your system is set up. But certainly Nintendo was not blameless in this at all either, right? As mentioned, they could have certainly said this is why this game is more expensive. And you know what? I guess I would say this too. The other thing that I think maybe they could have done. I mean, they never do this, right? But I was trying to watch some of the Treehouse footage, and it was just the comments were just obnoxious. Every single comment was drop the price, drop the price, drop the price. I think that maybe you could have had like some sort of acknowledgement, like we will review this at a later date or give you an update on our price, right? Like something like that. The other thing about this as well, before we move on to the next piece of news that might impact the prices even more, is that I think that this is going to be bad for encouraging new Nintendo IP. You know what I mean? Like, I think that if games cost $80, you're going to have consumers like myself, right? Like, I am going to be much more inclined to only pick up games that I know I like the new Zelda game or the new Metroid game or the new Mario game. So, like, those kinds of games, that's going to be like, okay, like, I know for sure I'm going to like these. But, would I pick up a new IP? Like, let's just say, what's a good example here? I don't know. Astral Chain comes out, okay, for the Switch, right? And it's a new, or Detective, or Famicom Detective Club or whatever. Like, those kind of, like, peripheral Nintendo games. Like, if they're priced at that, like, there's no way that we're buying that at full price, right? Because it's like, well, what if I don't like it? I've just wasted $100. And I think that's going to negatively impact some of the I don't know, like the sales of those games, and I think that ultimately kind of goes back to like you're just going to see a lot more sequels, and it's kind of like what's happening right now with movies, right? Like the only movies that seem to ever get made are like big superhero movies or like big movies that people know are going to make money, and if you have like a big movie that comes out and makes like less than $1 billion, it's like a disappointment, and I think that's kind of where this is going to push video games towards as well. So
yeah.
So now the other piece of news that dropped, this is even worse. Well, for you, but I mean probably for me too, is that the pre-orders themselves have just been canceled. Like if you're an American citizen, you were supposed to be able to pre-order your Nintendo Switch on April 9th. Not happening anymore. And it's not happening because of Trump's tariffs that he put in. And like, people are also freaking out about that. And you know what? I want to say this. Two things, and there are going to be two opposite ends of the coin here. Number one, I saw so many people protesting yesterday. There was marches on the streets in LA, in Utah, and in Illinois, over in Algonquin. People that were just like fed up with this nonsense, where it was like, stop tanking our economy, right? Like, don't. And listen, I'm Canadian. I don't know the minutia of your system. But I do have an outsider's perspective here. So I saw lots of people marching and protesting, and I was very proud of all those Americans. And I was just like, you know what, this is great. You love to see it. And I would say keep that up, right? Because I mean that's really all you can do. Again, other than just like know who is running for your local elected positions, right? But on the other hand of that, and it's funny because every time that we even touch on politics, Al, inevitably we get some review or someone messaging or tweeting it or whatever, and it's just like, oh, stay out of politics, keep politics out of gaming, and I come here for escape and blah blah blah. You know what, I get it, I totally get it, but listen, let's call a spade here. A lot of those people that want to keep politics out of gaming voted a certain way, and now your keep politics out of gaming has literally made gaming about politics right now, because the Switch 2 is very likely going to cost even more because of these insane tariffs that are put on by Trump. So I think that's kind of ironic in a awful sort of way. And you know what? Like, unfortunately, like the chickens have kind of come to roost here, and there's a couple scenarios that will play out, or that could play out, and other than one, none of them are very good. Like, the best scenario is that and I mean, like, listen, I think Trump's a fool. He's talked about tariffs in Canada before, and then changed his mind, then said he was going to do it and changed his mind, and like, I don't think he knows what a tariff is. And hey, I'm no economist either, so like, whatever. But the best case scenario there is that he is wishy-washy and just drops this, right? I hope that's what happens for everybody. I think that the other scenarios are, number one, you're either going to see the Switch 2 cost even more, which I think is probably the most likely scenario. Or number two, the Switch 2 doesn't launch on June 5th in the United States of America. I don't think that's very likely, but I can't say it's a 0% chance either.
My take on all of this is, once again, go into it with a very questioning attitude on all sides, all fronts, everything. The pre-order, I wouldn't use the word canceled. I would use the word delayed. I think that, again, because of the discussions about tariffs for the last 2 months have been so back and forth, one day it's happening, one day it's not, I just feel like I can't ever allow myself to think, oh, this is happening, because it's been so wishy-washy for the last 2 months. And I just need to, I've kind of adopted this mindset of like, we're kind of effed either way, so we just need to wait it out and see what happens. So
you might not be wrong, Al.
I just feel like, and I feel like that's what Nintendo's doing with this. Like, I wasn't surprised to see that announcement that Nintendo is delaying the pre-orders just to kind of see and wait what the climate's going to be, what's going to happen, if they need to make decisions, because they had to make decisions quite a few years ago when there was trade issues with China, and so they took part of their Switch manufacturing to Vietnam. Mm-hmm. So maybe they'll relook at that and go somewhere else. I don't know. I think that Nintendo has dealt with this before. They're just biding their time, looking to see what's going to happen between the governments, and that's what I'm going to do too, because you know what, as a person who pays a lot for therapy so I don't catastrophize everything in my life, I just I just have to like tell myself not to panic and not to, I don't know, just kind of, I'm not going to say trust the process. I don't really trust the government process, like whether it's now or 4 years ago. I just don't trust it. So I'm just going to kind of sit and wait and see what happens and not jump to conclusions, because I think that's what Nintendo's doing too. And I have a feeling that we will still see the June 5th date. And I have a feeling that Nintendo knows that America is probably its second largest like consumer base, and that they will not screw us over. They might eat the cost of like the cost of tariffs or whatever, just so that the Switch price stays the same. That's
they
how
might.
I kind of see it happening. We shall see. Tomorrow we might have new information and Nintendo's like, we're good to go. Who knows? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. You could be right. They might eat the cost. I have heard, and listen, I'm not Mr. Economist here, okay? But like I have heard that the cost could be upwards of an extra like $200. I don't know if I am holding my breath that they're gonna eat. Let's say the Switch 2 sells 13 million units in its first year. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I see them eating $200 times 13 million. So we'll see. But I mean the other scenario isn't great either, because if they don't, you're definitely not going to sell 13 million units.
That's what I was thinking, is that if like, it's not a good position. And again, they've been in this position before, so they have like strategies to kind of figure it out, I think. America is so big behind Japan for them, you know, as far as their consumer base. I just can't see them being like, sorry guys, it's $600. What can we do? They're like, as a business, like, not because they care about, you know, like, we care about you guys, so we want it to be $450. No, it's because of their business that they might make the decision to eat the cost, because they don't want to lose that consumer in America.
We'll see. I don't know if I see that.
I'm like you, where I'm just like, I also don't know about business. I don't know about economy, but I feel like it's common sense, but I don't know. And again, information could change. Something new could come out tomorrow. We have no idea.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot of money to eat. A lot of money to eat. What would make sense?
They're gonna lose the money either way, because then America's not gonna to consume this product. You know.
We'll see. You know, we'll see. What I mean, again, it all comes back to who is making that asinine decision to put tariffs on basically every country in the world, including some island with nothing but penguins on it in the Antarctica. Like, so I mean, we'll see, but it's not looking good, and yeah, that's where we're at right now. Things are changing like every day, but I guess we'll see if they change for the better. I don't really have a lot of hope, to be honest with you. Like, I feel like it's how long is it going to be until Trump and Elon just start their own like Right Tendo or something like that, the right wing made in America game manufacturer starring the non-Italian but American plumber. I don't know. We'll see.
Oh my god.
Look forward to that game. How's the cost of eggs going, by the way?
I think they're down. I haven't bought eggs in a minute, but I'll let you know when I go buy eggs next.
Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean, I'm hoping that everything just kind of settles down a little bit here and that cooler heads prevail. I think Nintendo's head is probably always pretty cool to be fair, but we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know if you're going to see that price decrease. I think they would choose to sell less than to eat that. But what could we do other than just keep on making calls, keep on sending emails to your officials, and hey, I mean, like, speak with your wallet, follow your conscience. I think that's the moral of this story, right? Like, follow your conscience, do what you think is right. So that being said, should we talk about something else, Al?
I don't know, like this conversation, whenever I get kind of like heated up inside and my face turns like blotchy red. So I'm just like so red right now.
You look your normal hue to me.
I'm so glad you think that because like this is just a big blotch of red right now. Anyways, yeah, like maybe let's talk about things we're excited about and happy about.
Yes.
Not to say like toxic positivity, but like I just need to not panic. So.
Yeah, I don't think that's toxic positivity. Like, and the most important thing, this is the last thing I want to say, Al. The most important thing about all this stuff, because I don't know about you, but like since November, to be honest, since October of what 2023, when everything started, I shouldn't say when everything started, but that certainly was. The point is, I feel like it's just like you get so much terrible news every day.
Oh,
like,
this isn't just, I want to say this is a constant influx. And it's been going since like COVID.
Yeah.
You know,
it's been going since 2016, to be honest. Like,
yeah. And I'm not going to pin it on one administration because I don't think the other administration was that good either. So I would like agree. A middle ground person. So I just think it's been crap for a while.
And so the point is like there you have to take time out to talk about the things that you enjoy, the things that excite you, the things that you're looking forward to, the things that make you hopeful. So I mean, like, clearly there is much bigger things at play, you know, in the world right now, particularly in America, than the Switch 2 and if it's going to launch and what price it's going to launch. Like, there are real human lives being affected here, and you know, clearly that's the priority, and not only in America, but I mean overseas as well. There is human lives being affected, but I do think it is important. Like, you have to take a step back and talk about the things that you enjoy, because that's what gives you kind of the onus to keep, or the motivation, I guess, to like keep going. You know,
something I've learned in my like self-healing journey too is the most selfless thing that you can do is actually take care of yourself. Because it has a ripple effect on those around you, and then it has a ripple effect on those around them, and et cetera, and it bleeds out into the world, because the more you're taking care of yourself and enjoying the stuff that you enjoy, like video games, the more that you can actually produce help for others.
Yeah. So that being said, let's talk about some dang Zelda here.
Let's talk about some happy things.
We're 50 minutes in. Well, maybe podcast is like only 40 minutes in, actually. I lied to everybody. They fast forwarded 30 minutes and they heard us bitching about the world still, so sorry about that. All right. There's a lot of Zelda stuff that was announced at this Direct, Al. A lot of Zelda stuff.
Surprisingly, like, so much.
I wasn't surprised. I thought there would be a lot of Zelda stuff, if I'm being honest. I did think that there would be. You know what I will say? I thought that this Direct was missing, like, the big A+ game. And I guess Mario Kart World is that game. But like to me,
they started with it.
Yeah, maybe. Like I thought that the one more thing would be, and I'm not saying Donkey Kong isn't like a big one more thing, right?
I'm so excited. I feel
me
so
too.
weird that I'm so excited about this Donkey Kong game.
I think it looks great, and we're gonna have hands-on impressions on Omega Metroid podcast this Wednesday, so come and listen to that. But I don't know. I guess to me, like, the Donkey Kong stock is maybe down in the last 2 decades. You know, since the height of like the Donkey Kong Country days. I thought we would see like a big one more thing, like a Mario or a Zelda or an Animal Crossing or a Smash. I don't even know what I think those might be the only things on that level right now. And I thought, like, Donkey Kong is certainly big enough to end a Nintendo Direct, but like this is a special Nintendo Direct, I thought. So I did kind of think that we'd be seeing something, I don't know, something like really, really high tier. So I thought that was going to be Zelda, actually. So so I was expecting some Zelda stuff, and we did not get disappointed. Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment, the long teased Hyrule Warriors Age of Upheaval on this podcast.
Yeah,
I've almost called it.
We had no idea this was in production, obviously, but we've been like saying it would be. So
well, and like, I mean, it just makes sense, right? Like it's a sensible game to make.
Sometimes I think stuff makes sense, but then Nintendo doesn't do it. So just
see the first 40 minutes of this podcast. Yes. Yeah. So it took me a while to stop calling it Age of Upheaval. I think I will still slip and call it. Oh, even after the fact. Mm-hmm. I can't do it. I've just been like in my mind. I'm just like, when are they gonna announce Age of Upheaval? Got to be Age of Upheaval soon. Like, which I guess you're right. That doesn't make sense because that took place after
in the present.
Yeah. Yeah. But dang it, that was the name that I was calling it. So yeah, I think that this game looks really great. Like I'm really excited about it. It looks kind of like Hyrule Warriors standard fare, and we'll go into it a lot more next week and give some thoughts. But I was excited to see it at the Direct. I have some questions for sure. And specifically they said like, hey, this is a canon story. And
they've been so special, in particular with their language this time, like extremely careful. I feel like that's like, I feel like they know that we've been griping about their marketing for Age of Calamity. They know. I
will say this though, I'm still on guard.
Me too.
After what happened with Age of Calamity, and I think actually no matter what, that's probably a good thing, because no matter what, I will not get hurt, because like either I'm just like, well, this did in fact end up being like another weird side story, or hey, this was like something to actually like discuss before before the events of Tears of the Kingdom. So we'll get into that a lot more next week. We'll break down the trailer. We'll break down what some of the things that we could be seeing in the game are, because I think that I have a lot of questions about this game, particularly. Well, yeah, you know what? We'll save them for next week, actually.
Let's do that.
So I'm excited for that. That was I think clearly that was like the. Maybe I shouldn't say that, actually. Like, one of the big things from the release there, but the other big piece of news is that the Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild special editions are not just going to be enhanced with like 4K and blah blah blah, like all the good kind of graphics and stuff, but there's going to be new stuff added to them as well. Before I get to the new stuff, though, I did have to say I watched the side-by-side comparison in Korok Forest between Breath of the Wild on Switch 2 and Switch. That looks really great. It looks really great.
It's kind of insane how video games age, and because when Breath of the Wild came out, I was just like, oh my god, this is incredible, this is beautiful, it's so detailed, and you just it's so crazy. And then you see the side-by-side in the Switch 2, and you're just like, oh, maybe it wasn't as great as I thought it was. I don't know. But you also like look at games like I compared Breath of the Wild to the OG Skyward Sword, which was grainy as heck. It was right before the HD era of remaking games in HD, and I'm just like, okay, it totally makes sense that Breath of the Wild looks so much better. And then you get to this 4K version, and yeah, it looks crisp and it looks nice. I'm really excited to replay. I feel like after the marathon, I'll talk about it when we talk about the Zelda notes, actually. I'll wait.
Oh, let's just talk about it now. Okay. Yeah, because like one of the cool things that you could do, so there's the extra add-on where it basically gives you the Zelda Dungeon interactive map in like your Switch app or whatever, or your NSO app, which is pretty cool. I would say, like, man, I wish that was just built into the game though, and not into the app. Maybe that'd be a pain in the butt to like toggle between the screens and do it, but the option would be good.
The option, some of these things that weren't like built into the base game / built in the game before now is kind of like, I wish we had that before. And I do wonder if say I have my 100% file, if I can open up my 100% file and have all the stats that you get with Zelda Notes. There's like a stats page, and it tells you how many monsters you like. Can I connect my game and it'll tell it that, or does it have to be in time playing it and then it gathers that data?
I would think, and I have no idea, but I would think that since it's connected to your Nintendo account, which is connected to your Switch, I would think it should be able to pull that data, shouldn't it?
I would hope so. I don't know. Like, the thing is, like, if they had that data, why couldn't we see it before? You know what I mean? Because I love seeing that data. I love seeing how many monsters, how far I've walked. I love seeing, like, how many... They're giving you like medals for stuff that you do. I love that. That's achievement stuff that you get in like Xbox and PlayStation. It's some of these things where Nintendo is like, this is brand new for the Switch too, and it's like you're kind of just catching up with the rest of the video game world, to be honest.
A little bit, yeah. The one thing that I did think was cool is that there's new. I don't want to call them memories, but like there's voiceovers. Yeah, which I thought was really cool. Like, you go, for example, you go into Zelda Study in Breath of the Wild, and you'll hear Zelda speak and give, like, a little anecdote, which I think is kind of cool, and that's part of the, the Google Map that they have, like, the Hyrule Google Map. I hate that, I will say, where it's just, like, continue left or forward or whatever.
You can turn that off, though. Like,
you have to, I hope so, because that is like
I watched the Treehouse where they were showcasing it, and they turned it on and turned it off. So
that is very immersion breaking to me.
It's funny because the lady's voice sounds like that monitor that you were complaining about from Nintendo Land.
Oh, Monita?
Whatever.
Yeah, she's returned. Calamity Monita.
Oh no. I just think it's really cool that they're adding that the voice actors were brought back. It's not just Zelda. There's like Rauru stuff and Koga stuff, and there's so many points too. So like you could really just re-immerse yourself back into these games. And I have to say, with the addition of the Zelda Notes, oh my god, this is gonna sound crazy. I might 100% Tears of the Kingdoms again. I might do it.
I will never do. As God is my witness, as long as I stand on this earth, I will never 100% Tears of the Kingdom. I promise you.
I just feel like it's adding such a cool new element to the game to like re-explore the area. Again, it's kind of like, well, why couldn't we have this before? But it's fine. If we couldn't have DLC, like, this is cool.
Yeah, like I feel like a lot of the DLC, when they said that they weren't doing DLC to me, I was like, okay, well, there's definitely like a Hyrule Warriors game, and there's maybe going to be something else kind of to put a bow on this down the line. So yeah, I think that's great. I think it's cool. It's going to add in some replay value to Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. I have to be honest, I wasn't like super enticed to replay Tears of the Kingdom. But now I feel like that's went up a little bit. So I mean, that's only a good thing. And the cool thing too, and we said this on the show last week, is that the upgrades for Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, and those are the only ones that have been confirmed so far, but those are free if you have the expansion pack NSO. So cool. I mean,
there's that for you.
Yeah, there's that.
That's pretty cool.
There is also, and I guess, the other thing that we should mention too, which I don't know if we've seen confirmation for this yet, but I have heard, and I'm pretty sure that this is the way that it is. When you buy a Switch 2 edition game, like via, if it's Metroid Prime 4, if it's Kirby, if it's Breath of the Wild, what you get is a Switch 1 game and then the digital like upgrade along with it. So you don't actually get a Switch 2 cartridge. And I don't know, I don't know if that's like a good thing or a bad thing. I feel like I hear that and it bums me out, but I don't know if there's like a reason for that or not. Someone smarter than me would have to tell me.
I think it just depends on, yeah, if it's like intended to be like a Switch 1 game or it's intended to be both, then you would have like the Switch 1
Yeah,
copy of the
if it's a
game, but you would
Switch 2
have the
version,
upgrade.
exactly. So
Yeah.
like, there's no different cartridges for Metroid Prime 4. Like, there's the same.
Hmm.
There's only the Switch 1 cartridge, but when you buy the Switch 2 edition, you get the code to like upgrade it or whatever.
Hmm.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I guess my gut says like that feels to me like it stinks a little bit. Maybe it doesn't, but I feel like that
I want to say it
does.
doesn't because we've seen how Breath of the Wild is going to look on the Switch 2, and that's clearly a Switch 1 game being played on the Switch 2 with the Switch 2 update, quote unquote.
Yeah.
So if you're still getting the Switch 1 game with the update, quote unquote, then it's going to look fine and it's going to be great.
It's not that. I guess I'm just like, does this eat up a lot more memory on my Switch 2 by having it digitally?
To be
I
fair,
don't know.
the Switch 2 comes with a lot more memory than the Switch 1 initially, like off
Sure,
the bat.
yes, for sure. But I don't know. I have a lot of games on my Switch, so like that memory does run out. We'll wait to see. They have to give us some clarity on that. And there was the other discussion too, about like the whole like key card as a game thing, which is
Yes.
that I will say for sure is not great, like at
I
all.
think that people are taking that and kind of spiraling a little bit because that's something that Nintendo's been doing for a while and they don't do it for every single game. It's not like every single Switch 2 game is going to be that e-card thing.
No, but there's a lot of them like Elden Ring, Final Fantasy, a lot of the big third party games. It kind of has the same smell as like cloud gaming from the Switch, a little bit,
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
it's actually like a worse version of that because like you have to, now this is how I understand it. You have to be connected to the internet and you have to install, or like you have to have the cartridge inside the Switch. So it's kind of the worst of both worlds there. Now, this is only to download it once. I believe once it's downloaded, you can take the game key out and like you don't need it anymore.
Yeah, and I also want to say that other consoles do this. Like PlayStation 5, they did this for a couple of their games where like for example, I'm pretty sure Jedi Survivor was that way. I'm just saying it's not a new thing and it's not like going to be what they're going to do for every single game going forward. I fear that's what people are taking it as, and I mean, I'm not saying it's a good thing for the games that they're doing it for. I'm
Yeah.
just saying that we don't want to blow it out of proportion.
No, I certainly don't think it's going to be for every game that they do. I'm trying to find. Somebody posted a screenshot of the Breath of the Wild Switch 2 edition, and there was some text on there that kind of showed like what was included and what wasn't included. Um, I don't think it's like a deal breaker, but again, I don't know. I guess it's just not like when I buy a physical copy of a game, I want to own
Mhm.
a physical copy of a game that I can play without internet at any time. You know, my Switch 2 is 25 years old and those servers are shut down, right? Like that's what I want, and it doesn't exactly seem like that is the plan. But we'll see. I don't think that they have said for sure. So we'll see. There was also,
Um,
yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I wanted to jump back because we moved past Zelda Notes too quickly because there
Oh,
was a
I'm
couple other
sorry.
things that I was like, oh wait, we're talking about something else now. Sorry, backtrack. Zelda Notes. So they have not only do they have like the sharing system for the auto builds, which you could send QR codes to your friends if you like build. They built like some crazy thing on that treehouse, like a fire breathing dragon thing, which was super sick. And they just sent it to each other over the app. But you also have like item sharing, which like I wonder if I can item share from my 100% file to like a file on a different account. I wonder if I could finagle that in any way because that would be nice to like give my,
Give me
you
your
know,
golden piece of poop.
yeah, or like my super sick weapons or all the items that I farmed on that glitch that no longer works. You know, if I could send that over to myself, that'd be super cool. They also have like a daily bonus. So say you roll this lottery thing and it gives you a bonus like, hey, cold resistance for the next hour or whatever. And I just
Mhm.
think that's like those are some really neat like additions to like experiencing these games in a way. And I think this was like a really good idea to bring people back to not only Tears of the Kingdom but Breath of the Wild. I'm really glad that they did it for both.
Yeah. Yeah,
So I just
totally.
wanted to add that. Sorry.
You know what? One other thing, I just saw this in the chat, and I think that this is a fair point. Just going back to the if you buy a Switch 2 version, you only get like the Switch 1 version and then the download code. I think that's a fair critique. Like if you buy a game, let's say you buy Breath of the Wild Switch 2 edition and you want to sell it in a year, how do you sell it? Because you're only selling the Switch version without the download code, right? Like that. Maybe there's a way around that, but I don't know. We'll like many things, Nintendo didn't exactly clarify how that happens. But I think that's very valid, a very valid critique. So yeah, there's a lot of news on there. There was, we touched on it last week in the direct as well in our follow up there, but we did see Four Swords. Now, just Four Swords that was being played. Gives me hope though for Four Swords Adventures. I think that we could do it, and I think that, man, that's got to be coming for this GameCube online. Like I gotta imagine so. And we saw Four Swords being played with the C for chat button that was implemented. So that's really exciting. Looking forward to that. You know what? Let's talk about GameCube Online here for a sec, Al. This is one thing. So I've been I feel like I've been critical but fair of Nintendo this episode. This is one thing that I will defend Nintendo for here, okay? I saw so many people, they're online, and they're just like, I can't believe they don't have the Wii U version of Wind Waker HD. I can't believe that it's not on there. They're making us get a Wii U and sticking the GameCube version behind a paywall. And it's like, listen to me. If you want to play the Wind Waker HD, buy a Wii U. That's how it's always worked. I'm sorry, but like, buy a Wii U and buy the game. And maybe down the line, if they release it on Switch, great, you could get that version. But like, what are we talking about here? This is like basically a free. I mean, yes, you have to pay for NSO, of course, but like, you pay for a lot of, you get a lot of things for what you pay for there. So like, I feel like for me, NSO is a great deal. And it's like, what are you complaining about? Is the Wind Waker GameCube version like the inferior version of Wind Waker? 100%. No questions asked. But like, come on. Like, it sounds to me like you just want to complain about something because you're mad about the price or whatever, right? Like,
started. So, like, my favorite thing about the whole Switch 2 announcement is, people were complaining about the Switch, and they're like, it's not powerful enough, the frames, the lag, blah, 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 whatever. Anyways, now that it's, like, got these upgrades that they've been demanding forever, they're like, oh, well, now they're just copying the PS4. It's just a downgraded PS4. It's not even as good as... I'm like, you'll never be happy. Just, like, you just want to complain. So, anyways, moving on from that. I understand that people might be annoyed that it's not the HD version, but come on, like, we haven't had the GameCube version since the GameCube, and it's still a really fun game. If you rather play the HD version, like, I agree with you, just whip out the Wii U. I personally want the HD version because of the marathon. I am tired of everybody bringing their Wii U's to the marathon. Like, it would just be so much better if everybody could just bring their Switches. But that's a very weird, like, out there niche reason for the HD version.
There's about 30 other people that might share that viewpoint.
I have to argue every year to make sure I don't bring my Wii U. But that's the reason I want the HD versions on the Switch. But I could just pop in the HD version on the Wii U. It's okay for Wind Waker and Twilight Princess. So, I mean, I think it's really cool. The GameCube section of this Direct was so hype. Everybody that is my age, our age, just really popped off because the GameCube era was like a pretty big deal at least to my family growing up.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's so cool. And like a lot of those Pokemon games that are going to be on there, like some beloved, like the Coliseum and whatnot, I haven't played those, but I know that they have like a really nice following. So yeah, the GameCube section of this, even though they're the GameCube editions of these games and maybe they have ports that are better, is still like really sick.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think it's fantastic. Like, what's the alternative? You don't play the Wind Waker. Like, I mean, like, what do you want here? You know what I mean? Wii U,
it's fine.
Like,
it's not like it. The Wii U was only so long ago, and most people still have theirs. Or you could just go buy one for cheap. I think. I don't quote me on that. I could be wrong about that. That it's not like it's the GameCube that came out, 25 years ago, and that now we have that on the Switch. Like, I don't know. It's just a silly thing to complain about, maybe.
Listen, I just saw some tweets. It was just like, oh, I can't believe this is so lame that they're hiding this great version on the Wii U in like they're only putting the lame version on the app, which is hidden behind a subscription service. It's like, yeah, that's how it works. Like,
the games have been hidden behind the subscription service. Like
in the history of video games, if you want to play a video game, buy the console it's on. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and if you don't want to go buy that console, then hey, guess what? You have a subscription service you can subscribe to, which will give you select titles, and it's not perfect, but like it gives you a lot. So I mean, you know what I mean?
I can't speak for Xbox, but PlayStation does this too, where you could subscribe to their PlayStation 1, whatever it's called, and you get like exclusive games. Like once a month they have like a special game that might be free, or they have like these old school retro games that you could just get through the subscription service. Like all consoles do this. I'm guessing Xbox does, but at least PlayStation does this too. It's not a new thing.
I don't know. That one I was just like, oh my god, come on. Now listen. I hope that they still release Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD. I think that you could do like a 3D Zelda All-Star pack with those two games. I think you could charge $80 for them, and I'd be like, okay, great. That's two.
You know what else they don't have on the Switch is the 3D versions of Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. They have the old school versions, and that was sick. That was also really cool.
Yeah, that's right. So
I love it.
Maybe you could get all four together
getting all blotchy again
for 3D Zelda. I don't know. That'd be cool.
I said that, and you said I was crazy.
That is crazy.
I said I wanted a collector's edition with those 4 specific ports, and you said I was crazy.
That is crazy, I think. I don't know. Maybe it's not. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe both are crazy. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so this is the plan. We're going to review Age of Imprisonment next week, or not review, sorry, talk about our thoughts. We'll go frame by frame for the trailer. We'll go over all that stuff. I think we better do a Q&A episode here pretty quickly, and we'll talk about everybody's questions, and they could be for whatever you want, and we'll do our best to answer them. And yeah, we'll kind of keep on going as we as we get more news. We'll update as we get more news. We'll keep on top of this whole Switch 2 pre-order catastrophe, and let everybody know kind of what's up. The 9th of April is coming, though. I'll let you know if I did sign up for the pre-order on my Nintendo, so we'll see if that goes through.
I did too.
Yeah, so lots of cool stuff coming in the next couple of weeks here. Lots of news that's going to be dropping, I'm sure. So we'll be on top of it. One other thing that we should, or 2 other things that we should just mention really quickly. Number 1, it is the 20th anniversary of The Legend of Zelda: The Minish Cap in the States, I want to say. That might not even be true, but we're doing an anniversary week at ZeldaDungeon.net about the Minish Cap in order for its anniversary. Rod asked me if we could participate in that on this show today, and I said I wish that we could, but there's too much other stuff going on. So I love the Minish Cap. You should play it if you haven't played it in a long time. We did do a definitive ranking not that long ago on the Minish Cap, so go listen to that. The other thing that I would just shill here is that we put out. I'm kind of like an old grandpa. I think like April Fool's Day is like super lame. Like I just do. Like I just think it's lame. But we put out an April Fool's edition of Best Zelda Ever, and it was for like all the spin-offs from the series, like every spin-off for the series. So that's over on ZeldaDungeon.net. So if you want to go and check it out, you should go for it. I actually even contributed a little bit to that article. My return to the writing team there. I had some words for. Well, you could probably guess what games I had words for, Al.
The Tingle games.
The Tingle games. That's right. Yep. There's only one person equipped to comment on those, and by God,
that's not true. Judy also has played them, I think.
Yeah, but she doesn't love Tingle like I love Tingle. Take that, fair. Judy. Take
fair.
that. There could be another person equipped to comment on Tingle's Rosy Rupee Land, Al. If
what's that?
That person played Tingle's Rosy Rupee Land.
Oh.
Do you know this
Hey,
person I'm talking about by any chance?
that might be me.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's right. You do have a. Oh, I
I
forgot.
do have a
Yeah.
copy.
Oh, man. Shoot. How could I forget that? Um, yeah, so go check that out. That's going to be fun. We have a lot of stuff going on in the next couple weeks. And once again, this is the third time I'm shilling it, but I think it'll be really cool. We did go hands-on with the Switch 2 and Metroid Prime 4 and Donkey Kong Bonanza and Mario Kart World and I want to say the Legend of Zelda, the Wind Waker for GameCube NSO in Nintendo New York. So Dak is going to tell us all about his feedback, his thoughts, and that's coming on Omega this week. So check it out. Anything else to put a bow on this week's show here, Al?
We will find out more tomorrow, I'm sure, and the next day and the next day. If it's anything like the last 4 days, we will continue to see information. So we'll just see what happens.
Everybody breathe. Everybody breathe. All right, everybody. Well, we are going to get out of here. Thank you so much for listening to this week's show. I know it was a little bit of a touchy one, but I felt like we had to say our piece at least on it, and now that we have, it's out there. So everybody can kind of do what they will. We hope for the best. We prepare for the worst, as my father always told me. That is going to do it for us, though. We are going to get out of here. Of course, we do want to encourage everybody to check us out wherever you get your podcast. Go like, subscribe, recommend, rate, review, all that kind of fun stuff. Hey, if you got a Zelda fan in your life, tell them where they can get their weekly Zelda fix. And, of course, give us a follow over on Blue Sky at Allison Aletha, at Spiteri316, and at the Zelda Cast. And hey, we got a Patreon as well. If you really want to take your Zelda Cast love up to the next level, that's patreon.com/spnet. We got monthly bonus shows going on, so come and check that out. Check out ZeldaDungeon.net. Lots of cool stuff going on there, including our interactive map. If you are replaying Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, give some love to the OG interactive map, would you? That is going to do it for us, my friends. Hope everybody has a great week. We'll see you back here next week for some Age of Imprisonment. Till then, take care.
Bye.
Hey everyone! If you enjoyed this clip and want to see more of the Zelda Cast, make sure to head over to your favorite podcast platform of choice and subscribe. There are over 200 episodes in the vault that will provide you with hundreds of hours of Zelda content for you to enjoy. You can listen to us when you're on a walk, fighting Ganon, trying to sleep, whatever. And if you want to see these shows as they happen, make sure to head over to twitch.tv/the Zelda Cast, where you can watch our beautiful faces talk about Zelda every single week. Don't miss out, and we'll see you next time.